Hello, everybody. Welcome to a bonus episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast. It's the first time we've done a true bonus episode in a while, but I'm excited to get into this one. Swan's with me.
Hello.
And we are going to be drinking the Elijah Craig beer barrel finish from Heaven Hill.
I'm excited about this one because I'm not a big beer fan.
No.
So I'm curious to see if it's picking up some things that I do like from beer, or if this is going to be like, I'm glad that we tried this, but it's not for me.
Not your friend at all. So this was a limited release that was coming out basically just at the distillery, and I was fortunate enough, and I'm laughing because I know that Chad of It's Bourbon Night had to drive up to Bardstown in order to pick his up, but I sent an email to the PR lady that I usually use from Heaven Hill, and she's like, "We've got media kits. Do you want one?" And I said, "Yep." And so here it is. So a little bit of background on this. It was finished in Goose Island stout barrels, which originally were used for Elijah Craig barrels in Kentucky. So they started as Elijah Craig barrels, went up to Chicago to be used for Goose Island Bourbon County stouts, and then came back down to Kentucky to get finished in.
Nice.
So it's been around the block.
Yeah, no, there's only like one other person I know that's done that. It's like that Bluegrass Distillers. Don't they do that with their cider?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that one's a weird one.
Didn't we try that at Bourbon on the Banks?
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good. Very cider heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do remember it being pretty delicious. This is 94 proof, so typical Elijah Craig proof.
And it comes in the grenade.
It does come in the grenade.
It comes in a little grenade.
I like it. We're also trying out, I don't know if this is actually going to make it to anything or not, but we're working out the kinks a little bit, but we're doing video along with this for the first time ever. So we're going to see what this is all about. What you just took a sip.
I got excited.
You went right for it. You didn't even nose it or anything.
I did nose a little bit.
Oh, okay. And?
Man. You get in there.
Oh, it smells like a stout. It is really dark on the nose. Wow. It almost smells like wine.
A little bit, yeah. Have you had anything to drink yet at all?
No, this is my first thing I've had today.
Sweet.
Oh, okay. It's going to shock me.
A little bit. A little bit.
Oh, that's confusing.
Yeah. It's like hot, but it's really kind of mild at the same time. Mm-hmm. And then it's all chocolate.
Uh-huh.
And it's all stout. And it's just like back to the pain. And then it's like, oh, by the way, I'm a bourbon. Like, I mean, it is all over the place.
It's weird, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really weird. It's not bad.
No, not at all.
I like it quite a bit, but it's really, really different.
This makes me feel like Heaven Hill was like, yeah, we're looking for more Parker's releases, but this one got strange. It's good. Let's put it out just as a tester. We'll do that. And then maybe one year we'll do a stout barrel finish like Parker's.
I kind of see what you're saying, but at the same time, I mean, if the marketing is to be believed, mm-hmm. They had always intended for this to be an Elijah Craig product. Mm. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, it could very well be that it's a failed experiment, or maybe just a test. You know,
it's not failed in my mind. This is very different. It's not my wheelhouse. There's a lot of things that are like on the flavor profile that I just find confusing.
It's very dark.
Yes.
It's incredibly dark.
It's one of those bourbons that, like, I genuinely describe it as a whole meal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I feel like this is a joke and I'm about to turn into a giant blueberry. But, I mean, it is a whole meal. I know people, kind of give that quality to stouts, too. So
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
And I did a good job with it.
It's funny. I just had a Bourbon County Stout yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And not even really realizing that we were going to have this to try the day after, but it is just that perfect line. It's like it is seriously like you just married bourbon and a stout, and specifically the Goose Island Bourbon County stouts. I mean, this is very specific to that flavor profile.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would like the Bourbon County stouts. He's shaking his head. No. But from drinking this, do you think that you might like it?
I think I would prefer them over previous beer experiences that I've had. I don't know if I would enjoy it enough to have you open one and be like, been saving this for a couple years now, buddy. Enjoy it. That one's on me. And now I'm looking at you like, I'm going to finish it, but I'm going to regret every moment of it.
I'm going to cry a little bit with every sip. I like this a lot, though. I appreciate this being a limited release, too. I can't imagine that this would be widely, or that it should be widely available in the way that, like, Toasted Barrel or even the rye, the Elijah Craig rye are.
This one will be interesting for blending as well.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, because I think that it's a very, like, boom, pow sensation when you drink it. But if you were to blend this in with even, like, some rye or just something, I think it'd be interesting.
You know what's interesting? This is just kind of hitting me. It seems like most of the limited releases that we've had this year have been on the lower tier in price. This is $40 a bottle. Yes, it is only 200 mils. And yeah, it's only available at the distillery. But then you think about, like, Old Tub. That's a $20 bottle that's a limited release, and it's widely available.
Yes.
It's a weird year for LEs, I think, is what I'm
Well, we're about to
get
get into the thick of it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is the time of year pretty much from when you hear this until the end of the year that it's just like, let me bombard you with release after release after release. Now's the time to get a second mortgage.
Why is that? Why is it the fall? Is it just because that's when people typically will be drinking more bourbon, or I'd like to know if there's some kind of etymology behind it.
I mean, I think it's a lot.
It's
like
a big word for me.
Yeah, that was big. Contextually, I got it, but I have no clue what it means. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with, like, the grocery season. Like, we start selling a lot of, like, cinnamon, pumpkin spice, this, that. We don't put it out at the beginning of the summer because why? Who wants it? You know, I'm not gonna make a giant chili display in the middle of June. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I think, too, when people start kind of getting into that, like, ooh, it's getting a little cold outside, I want something to warm me up, they hit you with the LEs.
Yeah,
I mean, that just seems like, the time to do it. They know their audience and when they want it.
That's true, and we are going to actually have a fair few more LE reviews over the next few weeks, months, who knows. But we're actually recording this prior to recording the episode that will have come out on Wednesday with the Antique Collection from Buffalo Trace. So we've got a lot ahead of us to look forward to, and I'm very excited about it. But do you want to go ahead and give this thing a score?
Yeah.
Can we?
Yeah.
Should we?
Yeah, I think we should.
Let's do it. Why the heck not? So we score things on nose, palate, finish, and price. That's our system here on the show. Those on video just saw Swan drop his phone almost.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. It's a test, right?
Each category is out of 5, and then we total it up for a score out of 20. What would you give the nose on this one, Swan?
Well, the nose. Ooh, that actually is with a more empty glass. It's actually kind of interesting.
I have to agree with you.
I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Yeah.
It's dense. I know this is not going to be for everybody.
It's one of the more unique noses.
It is one of the most unique,
far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think I'm going to give it a 3.5 as well. It's really inviting. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't know what else to say about it.
No, this one is made for you.
It's made for beer drinkers who also love bourbon.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Heaven Hill looked at their never mind, I can't even think of what I was going to say. What about the palate on this one?
Palate, let's go. Palate is, for me, the weakest part.
It starts out like with a big, strong note, and then it peters off. But then once it very specifically, like once it gets to the back part of your tongue and that finish starts rolling, then it's just, you're right. I think you called it a roller coaster earlier.
Yeah, I mean, something about it is just strange. Like, it hits you with a little bit of a way too dark chocolate note right up front.
Yeah.
And then it kind of transitions into like semi-sweet chocolate, and then you've got just a lot of those like classic beer notes. And then there's like a big like kind of spice hit.
Yeah.
Leading into the finish. I think the palate is probably a 3. Probably for me it's a 2.5, but I know that I'm not the target for this one.
I'm going to say a 2.5.
Okay.
Because I think that, it is a little thin up front. It does present good flavors, but it's just, there's not much to it at the beginning. But that finish, though.
The finish is great. It's a 3.5.
I'm actually going to give it a 4.
Yeah.
Just slightly. We're going to have the same score at the end of it, just in different ways.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, price, this one's hard,
Yeah, it's $40. It's limited release. Really, you can only get it at the distillery or at the Evan Williams Experience in Louisville.
Oh, okay.
So 2 locations, but again, only available in Kentucky.
And you're like looking at roughly for a 7.5, it'd be like $130.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
I don't know. Putting it in perspective of how much a 7.5 would be, I mean, it's not great in the price range.
No, but it's
it
not
is
terrible.
No, it's not. It's not that bad for how unique it is.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely hit that mark. I'm probably going to give it a 2.5.
I'm going 3.5 on this.
3.5?
Yeah,
okay.
I think when you consider the uniqueness, the value of it, this is something you're never going to be able to get again.
That's true.
They really did. I think that they created something pretty unique and good with this product. Is it amazing? I don't think so, but I do think that there's something to be said about the value, at least in its uniqueness here. So 3.5, that brings me up to a 13.5.
Which puts me at a 12.5.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Hey, that's not bad. That's better than I thought it would be for a beer finish thing.
I was a little worried going into it, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But knowing that it had all the parts of things that I love,
yeah,
I'm really happy with the end product. I think that there's supposed to be a virtual tasting with Connor O'Driscoll as well.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so I want to try to figure out how to get on that.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's not tonight. It might be tonight, now that I think about it. I don't think it's going to be on the bottle, Swan.
I'm just looking.
Stop looking at the bottle, Swan.
Just looking.
I'm sorry. Anyway, thank you all so much for listening to this little bonus episode. We appreciate it. You can find our main episodes every week on Wednesdays in this same podcast feed. And if you want to follow up with us on social media, Swan, where can they do that?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram at My Bourbon Finder.
And I am at PureRater1492 on all social media platforms. The show itself is at My Bourbon Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can leave us a 5-star rating and review on the podcast app. And then you can become a patron of the show at patreon.com/MyBourbonPodcast for as little as $1 a month. And for $5 a month, you get bonus content. All sorts of good stuff over there. Thank you all so much for listening. We will see you next week for the next full episode of This is My Bourbon Podcast. But until then, I'm Perry.
And I'm Swan.
And this is My Bourbon Podcast.